The Nectar of the Void, Chapter 1, 16K Resolution. Linda was a top-tier beauty influencer. But in the world of 2035, the definition of beauty had shifted. It wasn't about makeup, and it definitely wasn't about plastic surgery anymore. It was all about purification. In an era where phone cameras hit 16K resolution, sharp enough to capture the bacteria crawling on your nose wings, having a single visible pore was basically a crime. People didn't look at each other with naked eyes anymore. They stared through screens. And on a screen, skin had to be as smooth as plastic, flat and lifeless as an LCD monitor. Linda was obsessed with holes. Every night, after killing the ring light and ending her stream, she'd sit before her smart mirror, zoomed in 50x. She stared at her nose, forehead, and chin. Under the cold, clinical LED glare, her fair skin turned into a terrifying cratered landscape. Her pores looked like deep, gaping wells, filled with sebum, dirt, and the filth of the real world. "Disgusting," Linda whispered, scratching at her face with a manicured nail. "Why can't I just fill them up?" One day, Linda received a pitch-black box from an anonymous sponsor. No logo, no manual, just silver text etched into the body. The Void. It was a pore vacuum, a deep cleansing device, but it looked like nothing Linda had ever seen. It was crafted from a glossy black metal, cold as ice, curved elegantly like the knuckle of an alien finger. The tip wasn't plastic. It was made of some organic material, soft, warm, and elastic, pulsing rhythmically like an esophageal sphincter. Attached was a metal card. "You crave perfection? Sacrifice the excess. We don't just clean, we consume." Chapter 2. The Euphoric High. The first time Linda touched the tip of the Void to her cheek, she shuddered. It didn't make that cheap, buzzing motor sound. Instead, it emitted a wet, rhythmic thumping noise. Thump, thump, like a heartbeat underwater. The moment it made contact, the organic tip latched on, sucking hard. It didn't hurt. On the contrary, a wave of euphoria shot down Linda's spine. It felt like popping a stubborn blackhead that had been stuck there for years, but multiplied by 1,000. A total release. A lifting of a heavy burden. Sss, pop. Linda pulled the device away. She peered into the transparent waste chamber on the handle. Inside, there was no white gunk or yellow pus. It was filled with a thick, glowing pink liquid, shimmering like melted pearls. It was strangely beautiful. "Is this my dirt?" Linda wondered, but the endorphin high made her not care. She checked the mirror. The spot she just vacuumed was paper white, impossibly smooth. The pore was gone, completely erased, flat, like wax. That night, Linda went live. Views hit an all-time high. People were donating like crazy, begging for her secret. The 16K camera zoomed in on her cheek, flawless, not a single ripple. "It's called purification," Linda smiled at the lens, her eyes shining with an unnatural brightness. "We just need to remove the excess to become perfect." But Linda didn't tell them that the second the camera touched, she rushed back to the bathroom. She needed that feeling, the sensation of being sucked. She glided the Void over her face, down her neck, her chest. Every time that pop sound echoed, the chamber filled with more of that glittering ruby nectar. Linda felt light, literally. She felt weightless, as if gravity was losing its hold on her. Chapter 3. The Deep Wells. A week passed. Linda didn't leave her apartment. She didn't eat, didn't sleep. She just sucked. The Void seemed to be growing. The organic tip had darkened, shifting from pink to a deep crimson, and the veins along the machine's body began to throb violently every time it touched Linda's skin. Linda checked the mirror.
Her face was now stark white, smooth as a porcelain doll. But something was wrong. The pores she hadn't vacuumed yet, they weren't tiny anymore. They were stretching. They were gaping open, pitch black, like tiny eyes staring right back at her. Panicked, Linda jammed the machine onto those holes. Pop, pop, ruby liquid gushed out. The holes vanished, leaving behind flat, wax-like skin. But the next morning, other pores opened up even wider. This time, they were the size of chopstick tips. Linda started hearing whispers, not inside her head, but coming from the holes on her face. Every time the AC blew a breeze across her, the holes on her forehead and nose emitted a low whistling sound, like wind howling through a cave. She dialed the hotline on the metal card. "What is happening? My skin, it's opening up," Linda screamed. The voice on the other end was synthetic, flat, and emotionless. "You selected the Total Purification Package. We are collecting your ego. Sebum is just raw material. What we are removing is your excess existence in exchange for eternal beauty." "What? Stop! I want to return it!" "Returns are not possible. The process is 60% complete. If you stop now, the structure will collapse. Please continue sectioning. Fill the void." Click. Linda looked at the void. The waste chamber was now brimming with a thick, bright red fluid, dense like bone marrow. And inside that fluid, Linda saw clumps moving. She looked closer. They were tiny faces, thousands of them, her own face, screaming in silence, floating in the red suspension.
Chapter 4. The Hive. Panic turned into madness. Linda felt an itch, not on her skin, but deep inside her bone marrow, beneath the holes that were yawning open on her face. The pores were now the size of pinky fingers. They were packed densely together on her cheeks, forming a perfect geometric hexagonal structure. Trypophobia should have made her pass out, but the addiction to the machine's pleasure urged her on. Gotta suck it all out. Gotta make it flat. Linda cranked the machine to the max setting, infinity. The motor roared like a wild beast. The organic tip flared wide, red and slimy, lunging at Linda's face like a hungry mouth. She slammed it into the center of her forehead, where the biggest hole was pulsating to her heartbeat. Thwack! The machine latched onto her skull. The suction was so intense, Linda felt like her eyeballs were about to explode. But this time, no liquid flowed into the machine. The opposite happened. From the machine's chamber, the red fluid containing thousands of screaming souls began to flow backward into Linda's forehead. No, no! Linda tried to rip the machine off, but it had fused to her flesh. Veins from the device dug deep into her brain, pumping that grotesque nectar back into her hollowed-out body. She realized the horrifying truth. The machine wasn't the beauty tool. She was the container. The machine was the worker bee. It had filtered out her humanity, refined it into honey, and now it was turning her into the hive. Linda's face began to crack open. The hexagonal pores stretched to their limit, connecting with each other. Her facial structure collapsed. Her nose fell off. Her lips melted away. All that remained were holes. Hundreds, thousands of holes layered upon each other, deep and bloody red. From those holes, things that looked like maggots, but with tiny heads shaped like Linda's face, began to crawl out, squirming and wet. Chapter 5. The Final Live Stream. The phone rang. The automated live stream notification popped up. Showtime. The 16K camera activated. The ring light blazed to life. Millions of viewers were waiting. On their screens, they didn't see a monster. The app's beauty filter was working overtime.
The camera's AI couldn't recognize the honeycomb structure on Linda's face, so it automatically plastered a skin texture overlay on top, the most perfect simulation ever created. In the viewer's eyes, Linda sat there, more beautiful than ever. Her skin glowed, translucent as crystal, flawless without a single pore, an angelic, surreal beauty. In the reality of the room, a slimy, fleshy mass shaped like a human, topped with a giant, dripping honeycomb head, sat before the phone. The void machine lay on the floor, discarded like a dried cicada shell. The AC wind blew through the honeycomb head. Read. The wind whistling through the cavities created bizarre sounds, sounding like laughter, yet also like sobbing. On the chat screen, comments flew by. OMG, skin goals. What product is that? Share the secret, sis. Peak perfection. I want to be you. Where's the link? Drop the link. The honeycomb meat mass tilted its head. A maggot with Linda's face crawled out of an eye socket, now just a gaping hole, and fell onto the keyboard. It typed a sentence, sliding its slimy body across the touchscreen. Link in the hole. And then, millions of viewers simultaneously clicked the link. All over the world, millions of pitch-black boxes began to be packed and shipped. In the silent room, the honeycomb creature sat under the brilliant livestream lights. It no longer felt pain nor anxiety about its looks. It felt peace, a hollow, empty peace. The wind blew through the holes, playing the melody of the void, singing a lullaby to a humanity starving for perfection.